Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to my top 5 comic book movies of 2016. Now, this is going to be something that I'm going to do kind of differently. I'm actually going to talk about why these are my favorite movies, how each movie was set up, and why I put them in these spots. So, first things first, the first spot that I'm actually going to be putting um, into the first spot is Captain America: Civil War, and the reason being is this. Captain America: Civil War, in my honest opinion, was one of the best comic book movies of this year because of the fact that they were able to set up this movie nicely. What I mean by that is the Russo brothers actually did something that's totally different from what the comics were. Okay, so you have two different sides. You have the side from Tony Stark's side, and then you also have Captain America's side. Team Iron Man is strictly for the government, and then you have Captain America, who's not for the government, doesn't want to be controlled by the government, doesn't want these superheroes to be told what the government what the government wants them to do. And Tony's the complete opposite. He wants the government to have some control over what they do as far as saving people's lives and stuff like that. In the comic books, you have this big whole huge team that ends up clashing together. And in this one, it's totally different. They do clash together, but it has it's a little bit differently since each character cannot be in the movie because of the copyright material. But man, the Russo brothers did a good job with this movie. I have to say yes, because of the fact they managed to set up everything smoothly. Now, you have Tony Stark on one side, like I mentioned before. He's all for the government, and the reason being is the fact that every single time when he would think that he's doing something right in his own mind, he's really not in his own mind, and it always comes back to bite him in the butt. And by that I mean you have to think of it like this. Number one, you have his suits that try to attack him. You also have Ultron that try to attack him. You also have the attack out in that country that with Ultron that killed innocent people and people died. And even though, and he was just trying to do something that was different, something that was nice for people in his own mind, because he actually thinks that what he was doing was right. And then you also have Team Cap, who's against the government because of the fact, not only because of them trying to control him, but because of the fact that the government that he once trusted, the government that he once protected, the government that stood for something is no longer valid anymore. And as a matter of fact, that they're even working with Hydra. So therefore, there's that separation. Before you know it, these two people are already clashing. Now, the only negativity I have to say is Zemo. Zemo didn't need to be there. He was like the puppeteer. And I always felt like you didn't need to have that Zemo character there. You already have these two characters that are going to clash together. You already have the tension built up. You already have all this going. Why confuse that and have Zemo there whenever he doesn't even serve a purpose of anything that's going on? He could have actually had someone that was killed, which he did. He had his wife and kid that was killed. But still, that wasn't enough. To me, they could have actually just put him there as a little small bit or whatever, but they didn't need to let him carry it on. But that's the only negativity I have about this film. They did a very good job. The action sequences were fantastically well done, perfectly well executed. The humor in this movie is great. I didn't feel like anything was rushed together. I didn't feel like, that it was being forced. I love the one-liners. I love the chemistry between Tony and Aunt May. I loved the Tony and Peter Parker moment. I love the Ant-Man moment between Steve Rogers and him. And like I said, this is totally something different that the Russo brothers had to do after Captain America Winter Soldier dropped. And I actually felt like they were able to recapture that magic again for the second time. Now, can they do it again for Infinity War? We would just have to see. But that's why that movie's in my number one spot, because they managed to do everything smoothly. And I have to say, good job to the Russo brothers for that. Now, the second movie that I have to mention here is a movie that I really loved. And matter of fact, I went on ahead and I went and saw this movie twice. And that movie is none other than Deadpool. Deadpool was a risk. What I mean by a risk, it was a rated R movie. It was promoted differently than any other Marvel movie. Not only that, but the marketing campaign was fantastic. It made me laugh all the way through every single thing that they had. They didn't give away too much details of the movie. Everything was everything they wanted to tell was in this movie, and they didn't leave anything out. Maybe a couple of little deleted scenes here and there, but it didn't really take away from the movie, and it didn't add anything to the movie at all. And those scenes were actually necessary to take out. If you haven't seen the scenes that were taken out, I suggest that you buy the Blu-ray. But man, for the first time in a long time since Blade, this a Red Rock comic book movies actually knocked it out of the park. Perfectly well executed. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool did as Deadpool was fantastic. I love the humor that he dropped in it. The one-liners worked. Whenever he went on ahead and did the third wall, that was even better. I mean, I had a lot of fun with Deadpool. As a matter of fact, I felt entertained by it. I walked out smiling and feeling happy. Like I actually ended up, fulfilling what I needed to be fulfilled whenever I saw it came out of this movie. And it made me want to go back and revisit this again because it made me care about his character. It made me care about his girlfriend. It made me care about everything that I needed to care about in this movie to where I was actually fully entertained coming out and I had a good time with it. This is the first time that Deadpool was ever on the big screen, so they had to actually do something differently for us to get that horrible image what they did with the X-Men Origin movie that came out, the Wolverine movie that came out, and for them to duct tape and put stitches in the guy's mouth to where he couldn't even talk because of the mouth with the mouth. Come on, you don't do that to Deadpool. But he was talking this whole entire movie. The one-liners worked. Great job, Ryan Reynolds. You did an excellent job with that. The third movie is Doctor Strange, the movie that just came out recently. I saw this movie twice. I had a lot of fun with Benedict Cumberbatch. He did an excellent job with this movie. I believe that it was Doctor Strange. In case anybody doesn't know who Doctor Strange is and hasn't even seen the movie, I actually nosedived into his character after reading Captain America Civil War because it's only in there for maybe for a couple pages. But it's about this neurosurgeon. He winds up getting into a car accident. He winds up having nerve damage to the point to where he can't even operate on anybody anymore. So therefore, he goes to the Ancient One. The Ancient One teaches his ways of magic. And this movie had a lot of good moments in it. There's a lot of good serious parts in it. There's also some humor into it. 1 minute you're wanting to cry. The next minute you're wanting to cry at the same time that you're wanting to cry. And some of the humor might not work for you during that time, but it worked for that character. If you ever read the comic books, it actually fits in perfectly well with that. And if you haven't read a Doctor Strange comic, I suggest that you take a look at Doctor Strange The Oath and also The Last Days of Magic because those are the best comic books right now to actually check out. And I'm also have to say, too, Benedict Wong as Wong worked out perfectly well, like I mentioned in my review. And matter of fact, I'm actually going to have the links to all these movies I'm talking about below. So check that out, too, after this video. But I actually felt entertained. I actually walked out smiling just like I did with Deadpool. I had a lot of fun with the Doctor Strange movie, and I saw this movie twice. I love the one, like I mentioned, I love the action sequences. Man, the visual effects for this movie was fantastic. I actually was blown away with it. The 3D effects, go see this movie in 3D because you actually do need to see this in 3D to actually experience this. Because it actually enhances the experience opposed to something that's not been filmed in 3D. If it's something that's not been filmed in 3D, the experience gets taken away and it looks like it just looks like a regular basic 2D movie. So go out and see Doctor Strange whenever you have a chance because I think you're going to love that movie. And like I said, the chemistry between him and Benedict Wong was perfectly well executed. Even the characters and the other actors on the set did a fantastic job of being in this movie. I can't praise this movie enough. If I had enough money, I would actually go back and see this again for the third time, but I need to go ahead and review Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them this weekend, so therefore I'm not going to be going to see Doctor Strange again for the third time. But go out and see this movie. I can't praise it enough. I'm also going to have to say that another movie that I actually like, and I know I'm going to probably get a lot of flack for it, but all movies are subjective. And that movie is none other than Suicide Squad. Yes, the editing was bad. I'm not gonna lie. It's the editing in that movie is bad. They took out a lot of parts, and as a matter of fact, there's an extended cut for the Suicide Squad movie. But I'm hoping that actually enhances the experience and doesn't take away or has zero effect on the experience. Because we're talking about like maybe 14, maybe 15 minutes of extra stuff that they took out with the Joker, opposed to the 30 minutes thing that they took with Batman vs Superman extended cut, where it actually enhances the experience. So to see how I like that Suicide Squad extended cut. But with that being said, I loved Harley Quinn. I loved I loved her character. I loved the way that she was being portrayed. I actually believe that she was Harley Quinn. The Joker, I love Jared Leto as the Joker. That's right, people who are hating me right now and wants to crucify me because of the fact I like Jared Leto as the Joker. I liked him as the Joker. I felt like he was the right fit for the Joker. I loved his humor. You can actually tell he was glued into the character. You can actually tell that he was passionate about the character. And I actually liked where they're going with that. But I also felt like, too, this is not a Joker movie. Suicide Squad was never a Joker movie. If you actually follow the comics, it had King Shark, it had Diablo, it had Harley Quinn, and had her origin story to the Joker, which is paying homage to what they were trying to do with this movie. But to have this other super human that's actually a witch in this movie, to me, didn't really fit in. To me, the best type of plot would have been for them to look for the Joker, and Harley goes off looking for the Joker, just like she did with the Suicide Squad comic book in issue number 5, I think, whenever they're talking about her origin. But I believe that would have been the best fit for that. But that's just my honest opinion. But I actually enjoyed this movie for what it was, and I had a lot of fun with it. That's all. I mean, you need to just have a little bit of fun for some of these movies and be thankful for the fact that we're even getting these movies, because I would never have thought about it. Then I'm also going to mention X-Men Apocalypse. Now, this is actually the sequel to Days of Future Past. I love what they did with Apocalypse. I didn't think that I was going to like it because at first he looked like a Pepto-Bismol bottle or Ivan Ooze, so I didn't really think that I was going to like it. But the special effects were good. The action sequences were good. I actually believe that he was the most feared mutant in there. The only downfall is I wish they would have gave us a little bit more whenever the good mutants were inside the mall with Jubilee and everything, and they were actually in the movie theater watching The Empire Strikes Back. So we can actually have a little bit more, so we can care about these characters a little bit more. But that's just my honest opinion, though. Everybody has an opinion, so feel free to comment below on what you think about that. But as a movie as a whole, this movie was actually pretty good. I actually saw this movie twice as well, so that way I could go ahead and have everything fresh in my mind and review, because sometimes I need to take a few minutes to actually process things through my head and try and find out what I liked and didn't like sometimes. But I really enjoyed it. I loved Quicksilver again in this movie. He stole the show. I liked him better. I like this Quicksilver better than what we got in Ultron, but hey, that's subjective. But man, X-Men Apocalypse was really good for what it was. Then I'm gonna have to do an honorable mention, but the simple factor is this: I'm not gonna say Batman vs Superman was the worst comic book movie of 2016. There was some bad editing parts, just like Suicide Squad. And, I enjoyed it, but like I said, the editing was choppy. I wish that they would have actually left all that other goodness, that 30 minutes extra thing, into the original cut, so I can actually put this as my favorite top thing. But I can't do that without saying that putting the Blu-ray in there. This is just for the theatrical version. The theatrical version I enjoyed, but not as much as I enjoyed the Blu-ray extended cut. And the extended cut was a whole lot better, in my opinion. It actually enhanced the experience. And I wish that there was going to be more of a fight battle between Batman and Superman, but instead we only had like a 10-minute fight. That's all I have to pretty much say about that whole entire movie. But anyways, tell me what you guys think. What did you guys think of my top 5 list? Did you guys like it? What didn't you like about my list? Tell me below. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe below. And as always, I'll have a review up for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them on Saturday sometime. And until next time.